We love the fall, don't we, Z?
Oh yeah, it's a
Zippy
bundle up.
zappy, zippery do, right?
Uh,
We love the fall, but the cold brings in certain challenges, like when your car, the heat isn't working, nor is the AC, so you're stuck with 3 layers in the car while you're wondering how you're going to fix it.
you just described my exact situation with my radiator being busted because I don't have heat unless I refill with coolant every time.
See, the motor in, I believe it's the motor that powers the whole AC unit in
Mm-hmm.
the vehicle. The past couple months, it was getting real loud. Always been a
Oh
bit loud, but
yeah,
it started getting real loud. A couple times I pulled up, put it in park, and it was, and I was
yeah.
like, that's probably not good. And then took my lady to work a couple weeks ago. Started the car, turned on the air, and nothing was coming out, and I didn't hear a sound. And I was like, oh, that's phenomenal. So now the temperature is dropping, and it's just getting colder. So now, while I am in the midst of looking up how to fix it, we are looking at getting some space heater that you can put in the car without lighting the bitch on fire.
I mean, all right. I mean, I found out that my AC and my heat really, because my AC works. I found out my heat wasn't working in the winter in negative degree temperature
Yeah,
during the storm, the ice storm we had a couple years back, 2 years
yeah.
ago at this time, I think. And I remember my car being covered in a few inches of ice or snow and ice, and I turned it on to let it defrost, and it didn't.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What's going on? Why? What's happening?" And I realized I'm blowing cold air 20 minutes later, and I'm like, "I'm going to run late for work if I keep trying to defrost this."
Yeah, that's why I am stocking up. I hope I can get it fixed before we have any major winter stuff. Luckily, that for us, that might come at the end of December, but usually that doesn't come till the end of January.
Yeah, it's very unusual for us Tennesseans to for it to be this cold this soon. Like it usually starts cooling down around this time of year, at least the last few years, but it's never been 46 at noon.
But that's why I am going to stock up on the de-ice stuff that you can get from AutoZone and rubbing alcohol because that loosens up ice, lets you scrape it off a lot easier than just waiting for the heat. Because again, no heat, so
So I
you
actually
have
looked
to do it by manual force, manual labor.
yeah, I actually looked up the rubbing alcohol trick, and it's like rubbing alcohol with a little water.
Yeah,
Doesn't really work too well, in my opinion.
and it still works a little
The
bit.
water part, like it froze almost immediately,
That would
while
make
the
sense.
rubbing alcohol, of course, melted everything else. But then the
Hmm.
water came back over it and just froze it back. I'm just like, okay, so I
Wait,
have to do this fast.
you would do rubbing alcohol and water?
When I looked this up, it's completely possible that it was completely wrong. But when I looked it up, it was saying to mix like 2/3 rubbing alcohol, 1/3 water, and you can mix that or pour it over your windshield to melt the
Yeah, no.
ice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
When I worked at the factory we used to work at,
Mm-hmm.
well, part of the reason I wish I was still working there is they had a little miniature store that you could go in and you could get shampoo and conditioner, Germex, iodine stuff, and rubbing alcohol for like 60 cents.
Nice.
And you didn't even have to buy it. You had a set like amount you could. I think it was like $100 you can use for anything you wanted in that store, right? And the reason it was there is because that was product that the labels weren't put on properly, expiration dates weren't put on properly, or they were just tossed, right?
Wait, did the factory warehouse you worked at, did it produce those items?
It didn't produce them. We got them from the producer.
Yeah.
They just came to that factory and we packaged it, bottled it up, put labels on the bottles, put those in boxes, sent it off to wherever people are buying it from.
Okay. That's a really good deal.
But the first snowstorm in 2021, I want to say, yeah, because this was around Valentine's Day. There's a specific reason why I remember that. So Valentine's Day 2021, we walked out there, and, well, I guess I'll tell the full story. The reason I remember it being Valentine's Day is because that was the dude I remember there who was like my best friend there. Mm-hmm. He would take Ubers to and from work.
Yeah.
You weren't getting a fucking Uber this day. Roads were completely iced over.
Yeah.
So I sat with him and I texted my lady. She had like dressed up, she made dinner, and she was excited for, Valentine's Day. But I texted her, I was like, I'm not leaving him if he doesn't have a ride. I'm not about to do that.
Yeah.
So we sat there for an hour because he refused to let me try to take him home. But then he was like, are you sure y'all won't mind? Because I kept telling him, I was like, we have a room, man. If you need you can sleep on the couch or whatever. We got you. And he was like, are y'all sure? And we were like, yeah, definitely. And then he came home. He felt even worse because he walked in to see my lady dressed in one of her best dresses, dinner freshly made, candles lit and stuff. And he was like, God, man. Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's something I hate to do as well. I hate feeling like I'm imposing on somebody, which is why I usually, like, whenever I drink with my buddy up here, like, I would kind of refuse to stay at his place, and I would just wait for my drunkenness to go down, and then I'd leave. It would usually be about 2-3 o'clock in the morning. But
see, we didn't mind. It's just like he was over it until he saw all the Valentine's Day stuff, and then he was like, fuck. But the reason I'm bringing all this up is when we got out to my car, this is back when I had the Murano, I flipped it on, turned the heat up, but he had gotten 3 bottles of rubbing alcohol and was just sprinkling that bitch on the
he said, get me the hell out of here so I don't impose anymore.
Yeah, no. And that ride home, that's back when I lived at the trailer, not this place. Mm-hmm. And the trailer is on Old Nashville Highway, and the factory I worked at is right there. That is a 15-minute drive usually. That bitch turned into 40 minutes. I was creeping.
Yeah, I mean, completely fair. You don't want to hit a patch of black ice and get careened off the road or anything, so.
Yeah, luckily that car on tires, all-wheel drive. Dude, the Japanese make some quality vehicles.
You think?
Dude, 2008 Nissan Murano, that thing lasted a good little bit too. The Japanese make some quality ass vehicles.
My 06 Altima has been running on patchwork JB weld for the better part of 2 years now because I just haven't gotten my radiator fixed.
Oh, and guess what I found out yesterday?
What?
So you know when the bitch gets cold, the tires, you need to fill them up, right?
Yeah.
Basic science.
Mm-hmm.
How long has it been since you filled up your tire? Since you've went to a gas station, pulled up to the air pump, paid for air, and yeah.
That'd probably be right before I actually got a new tire. So that would have been early summer, this past summer.
How much was it?
$1 and some change. Yeah.
$2.50.
Oh, hell no.
$2.50.
I thought $1 was too much.
Dude, I remember when this shit used to be like 50 cents.
I remember when it used to be a quarter. I pulled
up to Kroger and I was like, $2.50? You're making me want to vote for Trump. What the fuck is going on, Joe? I know, guys, don't get on my case. I know it's a fucking joke. $2.50?
I remember when I was a kid, like I was riding around with my mom, of course, and she needed air. We'd go up, she'd reach into the little glove box, pull out a quarter. Hey, go put some air in my tires. A quarter.
And you know what's fucked up? That was what, 10 years ago? Maybe. Even I remember when I was in high school, I'm not going to label those years. I don't want to make myself upset. When I was in high school, I talk like I'm 40 years old, but when I was in high school, my mom pulled out 2 quarters. 2 quarters. Popped that bitch in the machine, all 4 tires. $2.50. I only needed 1 tire too. I was tempted to say, fuck it. I'm so sorry for the scratching of the microphone. I was tempted to say, fuck it. I'm going to fill all of them up and hope they don't blow up for $2.50. I was tempted to go and say, hey, anybody need some air? $2.50. The fuck is that about?
And the worst part is it runs on a timer, and for some reason you can't just put in like change as to how much time you need. Like it used to be 2 minutes or something that you'd get off of a quarter, and now it's the same for, like you said, $2.50. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you set the machine to the PSI you need and hope it lasts for all 4 tires.
Yeah, it sucks because luckily I had an out because my granddad works for the city, and they had an air compressor at their warehouse, their location.
Yeah.
So I would just roll up to his place while he was at work, and he'd put some air in my tires.
Apparently, we have an air compressor here. I have no idea where it is. I've never seen it in my life, but my lady was like, we have one. And I was like, I already paid $2.50. I'm harping on that number.
I had one in my...
$2.50!
Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
I had one in my Trailblazer, and I thought I put it in this Altima. And apparently I lied to myself because when I popped a tire last year, I want to say, going into work, hit a gigantic pothole that just appeared out of nowhere, popped that tire, rolled in, looked for the air compressor because my spare was going flat because, when it sits too long, it will go flat.
Why wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it be going flat?
And I found 2 in-car vacuum pumps that my grandparents had seemingly put in the car before I had gotten it from them. And I was like, oh, this looks like the air compressor. It was not. It wasn't. I looked at it. I said, why has it got this chamber here? Oh, that's a vacuum. Okay, what's this one?
That won't help me.
Yeah. So what's this one? Another vacuum. Why are there 2 vacuums in there? No clue.
Have you ever driven on a flat? I know you said you popped the tire, but have you ever crossed your fingers and been like, all right, I got to make it somewhere?
No. I've driven on bald tires and had that feeling,
Fuck
but
that.
never
Fuck
a flat.
That.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Tires were expensive for a high school kid, so.
On the Murano, I had a problem with a tire. I think it was the back passenger one where it had a small hole in it, so it was a constant leak.
Yeah. So
I would constantly need to fill it up and whatever. And one time I walked out of the factory and it was completely flat. And there, luckily, so the factory, do you know G Street?
No.
Do you know where the Air Force Base is over here?
Didn't know there was an Air Force Base over there.
Well, it's the National Guard Air Force.
Yeah, I didn't know anything of that.
You come down this straight street and the factory's right here. You keep going. It's a gas station, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That gas station, I said, all right, it's right there. So, it was the middle of the night. So I'm like, please, for the love of God. And I started and just doot. And what made it worse is as I was pulling out, I had my window rolled down because I guess I wanted to punish myself further. And there was someone in the parking lot who was just looking at me. And I was like, "Good night." Turned and pulled out, made it to the gas station, and I looked at that pump. That pump looked like it was from 1952. I said, "Please, for the love of God, don't swallow my money. Please, don't swallow my money." Luckily, it didn't. Filled up the tire. Eventually got it plugged before I replaced all 4 tires when I got the chance to. But, god damn, man, that shit.
That would be terrifying. Like the longest I had driven on a flat tire was when I popped it at going to work that time, and that was probably 50 feet. Because I was rounding a corner, and then the next turn was probably 50 feet down the road, and I remember hitting that pothole and was like, "Damn, that hurt." And then I hit the brakes, and then I felt it, and was like, "No."
Some of the most real jokes I've ever heard. And I can tell you one on the way to my lady's work. There is a deep ass pothole that is under a bridge, coated in a shadow. You don't know it until you hit it, right?
That's a trap.
And luckily I've had some soldiers for vehicles because I've never had a tire pop from a pothole. But you know that shit when you hit it and just, dude, you just turn the radio down and you just look at the windshield.
Yes.
And you're like,
so
you're like, goddamn, man.
In town here, they have this thing of letting potholes get to the point of where they could pop your tire before they fix them. And then when they do, they fix them faster than any other road work they've ever done.
Yeah.
And there was one leaving from work, where I work now, to my place, and I hit it 3 days in a row. And each time I have forgotten exactly where it was. So I imagine me listening to music. It's like,
yo,
don't hear anything? Cool.
No, I start punching things because I'm mad at myself. Because I'm like, I told you to remember where the goddamn pothole is. I keep hitting it. It's the same. It don't move. It's right there.
It stays in the same spot, but every time I just misjudged it by a little bit. I was so mad.
But all these problems that the fall brings, it makes me reminisce on when the fall was just, it got chilly.
Mm-hmm.
The house started smelling more like pumpkin, autumn, whatever.
Yep.
You go into class, brother, there was like pumpkins all over the place, right? Me and the lady, we're going to carve jack-o'-lanterns next week. Haven't done that in forever.
Nice.
It makes me reminisce on the good times where all these fucking issues that the cold brings. You know how, I know it's another classic joke, but when you're like, man, why is dad so grumpy in the winter? Oh, well. Why are your parents so grumpy in the winter? Why is grandpa so grumpy in the winter?
I'm glad you corrected.
It's because it's fucking cold. Yeah, you happy I corrected it without making fun of you not having a dad? It's because it's fucking cold. Everything's breaking down and it's fucking expensive.
Yeah, that's the shitty part of being an adult is dealing with the expenses that come along with the extra stuff. And, I mean, me being myself, I do like the cold. But when I have to be out in it, not so much.
Dude, I've learned, and we talked about it when we talked about our favorite seasons, I learned to hate the fucking winter. We said fall is the greatest, mm-hmm. Yeah. Right? It takes, at the beginning of it, you get some of the best aspects of summer. At mm-hmm. the end of it, it starts getting a little chilly. You get a good mix.
Yep.
We talked about this, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The winter, for me, carried by the summer or carried by Christmas. If the winter didn't have Christmas, I'd be saying fuck the winter and everything that feels like the winter. Because I swear to God, just the shaking I feel in my bones. I got a lot of blubber on me. That shit don't do shit.
See, when we were younger and we actually got 4 seasons, the winter was carried heavily by the chances of me getting out of school being a lot higher because we did get snow. Like I remember elementary school, it was September. We got snow somehow. And then
that would terrify me.
Well, I was confused because it was like 60 degrees that morning. And then suddenly it's snowing. And I was like, huh. But I was only 5th or 6th grade. So it didn't really matter.
What's great about Tennessee is if there's just a hint of snow possibly being on the ground, school's out. State's shutting down.
Not anymore with the county school system. Like my elementary school was a city school, like it was part of the city school district.
Yeah.
Anytime there was a lick of snow, you get the next 3 days off.
You tell me the county is starting to strict on that?
The county, I remember we had a snowstorm one week. That put us out of school for that whole week. And then the next week, it still hadn't melted all the way. It was still sort of icy. They were like, school's back on. And this was in high school. So that was fun.
I remember I have a memory. I have memories, Zacharias.
I would imagine.
I remember in middle school, we had a couple days out of school because of snow. The issue is there was no snow. The roads were just a little icy, and they called off school. And my teacher came in the day after we got back, and he was like, yeah, I had to tell my kid, you're not going to school because there's snow outside. And then I had to tell him that he can't go play in the snow because there's no snow outside.
That's basically what Tennessee goes through. Confusing thing ever. It's like, oh, we're not going to school because of snow. Can I go play in it? There is no snow. Then why am I out of school? I wouldn't question it, but
no, a crisp autumn night, just a light chill by a fire.
Mm-hmm.
Just take me back. Take me back away from it. Little pumpkin pie, little hot chocolate. You know what I'm saying?
Hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate. What? By the way, do you do water or do you do milk in the hot chocolate?
Depends on how I make it. If I don't have time and I'm just like, I want some hot chocolate, I want to throw it in water in a cup in a microwave. If I've got time and I really want to like it, I'll do milk on the stove.
Okay, so it depends on the time, not depends on how I make it.
I guess you're right, yeah.
Hey, do you prefer your chicken grilled or fried? It depends how I make it. That didn't answer my question.
We've had that chick grilled or fried conversation before, actually. And it still went both ways for me, but not on how I make it.
Do you like ranch or Thousand Island in your salad? Depends how I make it. Again. Okay. Which one do you use?
I meant the process, and it kind of does dumb down the time, because if I'm making it in the microwave, I will use water. If I make it on the stove, I will use milk. That's what I meant. But
see, I was convinced that hot chocolate was overrated and bad because my family just used water, right? So it just tastes like a hot yoo-hoo. And just to picture that, disgusting. No. And then my lady loves, one of her favorite things in the winter is getting to have hot chocolate, right? And, well, I guess you can have hot chocolate all year round, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I was like, ugh, it's nasty. She was like, what are you talking about? It was nasty. And she's like, try it how we make it. And she put milk. And as soon as I saw the milk, I was like, y'all use milk? She was like, you don't use milk? And I tried it and I was like, oh my God, what are we talking about? What did I grow up with?
That's where she says, read the box next time.
You could use, what are you talking about?
On the box, it says you could use water or milk. That's what I'm saying.
What? Okay, I don't read.
That makes sense.
What the fuck does that mean?
I said what I said.
What the fuck does that mean?
You're just going to have to figure that one out, I guess.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I going to have to read something? Nice one. Fucking asshole.
And this is why today's school system, folks, is really shitty, because we've got guys like Jackie over here that just doesn't read.
But no, did you have like Halloween parties in school?
In school, yes. Yeah.
I wish they were costume, now that I think about it. Of course, you couldn't wear masks because they're really heavy on that. But just everybody bringing in some shit.
Yeah, in elementary school, we had just, the regular little, like, get 2 pizzas, everybody gets a slice and a half or some shit.
Fuck off.
And then middle school, they let us dress up. Elementary school, we couldn't also because we had uniforms for some random fucking reason. And then, yeah,
Mr. Prep School over here.
they realized how shitty that was and got rid of it the year after I left, after I graduated elementary school. That was shitty. Middle school, they let us dress up. High school, they definitely let us dress up. And they didn't care about masks unless you were in class.
We would have like costume day in high school.
Yeah.
But every time we had a Halloween party, it was basically our teacher throwing on a PG like Halloween Town or some shit.
Yeah.
And hold on, by the way, because I remember watching Harry Potter in my class, and I've scrolling through HBO Max. They have a section where it's like Halloween classics, and every Harry Potter is in that section.
I'm glad I'm not a Harry Potter.
I'm not a Harry Potter guy. Does that make sense?
I guess I'm gonna have to look that up because I don't remember Harry Potter ever coming out on any Halloween.
I saw it and I was like, okay, I guess, there are wizards. There is stuff that's a bit spooky. Big spiders chasing you through the woods. Fuck that. But Halloween classic?
Yeah, I'm looking at every movie here. The first two on November. The second one in July. The third one November. The next three were in July and June. And then the last one was in November.
But anyways, you got the chips, you got the drinks, you got everybody bringing in some random, absolutely unhealthy shit, including, and this apparently a big debated on topic, because I've actually found people who don't like these. The frosted sugar cookies everybody bring in?
Yeah.
Do you fuck with those?
They're all right.
What do you mean they're all right?
They're not my favorite. I don't hate them.
See, someone told me they taste like Play-Doh. Like if you like eating Play-Doh, then you'll like those. I don't think they taste like Play-Doh, but thinking of how they taste, I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's valid. I could see where you would think that. Think about the taste.
I remember them tasting like Play-Doh. They just tasted like soft cookies to me.
Well, think about biting into one. Think about just biting into one, feeling it in your mouth.
Texture of Play-Doh, I believe.
There it is. That's what I'm saying.
No, you said taste like Play-Doh. I figured somebody.
But around Halloween as a kid, what was it for you? What was it like?
It was actually pretty fun for most of them.
Were you a haunted house guy?
No.
I figured that was going to be the answer. Why not?
I've been to some haunted houses, but I was more on the side of working them rather than experiencing them.
You worked at haunted houses?
Haunted trail, actually.
Okay, what'd you do?
I was a zombie for all the years that I did it.
I was never a haunted house guy because I was a little bitch when I was a kid, right?
Yeah.
We went to a couple. There was one in my neighborhood where dude would always come up to the line waiting outside and wave a chainsaw in our face. Fuck that.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a buddy's who built it in his house. Fuck that. I went to a YMCA because my stepmom worked there for the longest time. And we thought about doing it. Had some hot dogs, had some chili, because apparently forever around Halloween, it's hot dogs and chili. But we were walking out there and then everybody started running back saying, oh my God, it's too scary. Oh my God, they did it. And we were like, okay, not doing that.
I remember when I worked the haunted trail, I remember scaring the ever-loving shit out of somebody. Because I was that kid. I was in karate. I think I had just gotten a black belt or something around that time. And I remember the little house that was set up off to the side. I would kick the door in as they were coming along on the tractor. And I scared somebody so bad that they fell into the center of the little hay bales.
And then you jumped them?
No, we couldn't touch them.
That's fucked up. Let me touch them.
No, I think that's pretty fair for a liability standpoint.
No, let me touch them. I want to play with them. This is probably disgusting language, but you're telling me
is.
if someone falls out the goddamn thing, I can't just hop on and like grab them and be like, you know, act
No.
like I'm gonna bite them. Actually, I wouldn't do that. Grab them, and since you're playing a zombie, you go oh, oh, hold out their arms,
As they're just screaming their head off.
just I'm gonna bite you.
It's like,
I'm gonna bite you.
no!
My dad had an idea, or he heard this from someone, of doing a haunted camp where you camp out for the night.
Oh,
and
fuck no.
people come and like shake your tent or act like they're unzipping it or like smack it around.
Nah, I'm good.
And he said, yeah, I would totally do that, but he'd be unlucky and get like the Vietnam vet who'll just pop out the tent with a Bowie knife and just pin him to the ground and slit his throat.
I was going to say, we're in America, and much more, we're in the South. I don't think that's going to fly.
Well, I mean, you can't go. I'm guessing you can't go there with a weapon.
I mean, you could prohibit it all you want. It's not gonna
That's
stop people.
murder. I'm being straight with you, okay?
You're not
That's
wrong.
murder.
You're not
That's
wrong.
If I take you to a haunted camp and I'm like, all right, they're gonna fuck with the tent, and you pull out a weapon and shoot someone, you are liable. You know what you were getting into.
Look, the whole point is to not tell them what you're going to do so you can scare them. So imagine some idiot brings a gun and you scare the shit out of them in the middle of the night and you just hear bang.
That's murder. That's not justified at all.
It would be murder. You're right. But I'm not saying it won't happen.
But have you heard of like the crazy haunted houses where you have to sign waivers?
Yes. I actually know somebody that worked at one of those.
Dude, there's one that was in Tennessee.
It's in Nashville, I believe.
Well, I'm talking about a different one.
Oh.
This one, it was called like McKinney Manor or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Dude, they shut him down and now he does it out of his backyard, apparently.
Yeah, didn't he have a whole house for it?
Yeah, they'd put bags over your head. They would
put
you on the ground and drag you. They would spit on you. Someone would piss on you.
When I was in high school, I knew like one or two people that worked at that place.
What are we doing? What are we talking about? Why are you doing that?
That's why you sign a waiver.
Who would sign themselves up for that?
Plenty of fucking people. How many people, including yourself, don't you just like to watch horror movies?
No.
Okay. Well, there's plenty of people that do. And I'm willing to bet that a lot of those people will be like, let's go to a haunted house. Let's go to this super scary one. Because why wouldn't they?
Okay. Let's have this discussion right now because there's a TikTok going around that a lot of people are pissed off about. And my lady's reaction to this was hilarious. Okay. So people are mad at this lady because she says, if you enjoy horror movies, you have a mental illness.
All right.
Okay. And my lady, I was expecting my lady to go like, fuck her. But because my lady's favorite genre of movie is horror.
Mm-hmm.
But she was like, yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, that makes sense. That tracks. And I was like, okay, wasn't expecting that. But I will say that lady was a bit of a bitch because she, in a response video, said, see, people are coming at me just because I don't like something. You know that wasn't your words.
No.
Don't be a cunt like that. But there's a difference between enjoying a haunted house or scary movie and signing yourself up to be physically assaulted.
See,
there's
I don't
a difference.
think they did anything that hurt anybody. It just gave me
assault. It does not mean.
I mean, you're right, but you're signing up for it, which means there's consent, which means it's not assault.
It's still assault.
No.
The action of assaulting someone legally, sure, it's not assault. But there's still the action of assaulting someone. Right? Legally, you would be covered. You couldn't be charged with assault. That doesn't mean the assault didn't happen.
So you're telling me if I told you to put a bag over my head and you did, that would be assault?
Yes. Legally, I wouldn't be charged with assault, but it is still the action of assault.
I think we're just going to have to agree to disagree on that one.
What do you mean?
This conversation would go way longer than the podcast if there's any chance.
Explain your side. You're not explaining
because
your side.
Literally
in the slightest.
asking for it. That's my whole point. Is you're like, I know they're going to put a bag over my head. They've explained all this. I'm literally signing up for that. That doesn't mean it's assault.
Which means legally it's not assault.
You do know there's a difference. Distinction. Yes,
you do know there's a difference between legal world and what actually happened. Or I shouldn't say that. But like, just because you can't get whole Dr. Disrespect thing, let's be a little topical here. Legally, he probably couldn't be tried for anything. Does that mean nothing happened? Does that mean that action did not happen?
I don't want to get into Dr. Disrespect shit here. That kid was a minor for one. So that definitely would not fly.
You're not arguing the point. You're just
I'm arguing the point of you signed up for it. I'm not understanding your point here, because legally, not legally, it's not assault. You signed up for it.
But it's still assault. It's legal assault. I'm looking at the definition right now. Because we're just going in circles.
Yeah, apparently.
But there is a difference between all of that. So you just saying like, well, don't you like to watch horror movies? That's not the same in the slightest.
I just looked up the definition of horror because that's what we're talking about apparently right now.
Assault, make a physical attack on. Assault, a physical attack. Assault, legally, an intentional act that puts another person in reasonable apprehension of imminent harm or offensive contact. Consent has nothing to do with it.
I'd still like to argue that consent definitely has something to do with it.
You just asked for the definition. I give you the definition that doesn't have consent in it. I explained the point, and you're just saying nuh-uh.
Because I'm still fighting for the point that consent does not construe assault, even in the definition of the word.
So you agree that consent doesn't change the fact that assault happened?
No.
You just said it.
God. That's not what I said.
Oh my God. What are you looking up? What are you looking up?
Okay.
Speak through it.
Without consent, the act is considered an assault.
Yeah, what did you just look up?
Is assault still assault if there's consent?
So read it again.
Without consent, the act is considered an assault.
There we go.
Without consent. And they signed up for it.
Okay, what is the rest of the thing? Because we agree,
it went into SA when I looked it up immediately, so.
Well, yeah, because usually consent is only in terms of that stuff.
Yeah. And the questions I'm seeing are weird.
What, is it going to CNC?
No. It's a much more serious topic.
Okay.
But yeah, moving on.
Do you agree? Assault is a verb. Assault is an action. I can consent to you assaulting me. Can we just agree on that? And if not, what would you classify it as?
I would just classify it as somebody touching you with your consent, really.
Spitting and pissing on someone?
You don't do that in a haunted house.
In the haunted houses you sign waivers for? Yes. They drag you into rooms and people piss on people, spit on people.
That is,
they put bags over.
That is not a haunted house. I'll tell you that, sir.
Yeah. I'm not saying. I'm not saying it's the only thing they do. I'm not saying they're taking a trip to R. Kelly's house and calling it a haunted house. But part of it, yeah, they'll put a bag over your head, drag you in a room and piss on you, and then drag you out and do whatever else they want to fucking do to you. Some will hold your head just above like a river, screaming at you, telling you they're going to drown you.
To see what the worst shit a legal haunted house would do to somebody.
I could send you several video essays and just videos on different haunted houses in the country that will berate you while they fuck you. Are they going to smack you around and stab you? And no. But are they going to do shit like hold your head right above water and tell you that they're about to drown you and tell you all this shit? Yeah. Will they piss on you? Yeah. Spit on you? Yeah. I'm dead serious, dude.
I know you are, and I just want to find out what haunted house was pissing and spitting on people. That's literally what I'm curious about.
It's nasty. But why would you do that to yourself? That's the whole thing. That's why I brought this up. Why are you signing waivers to do that?
Okay, when you talking about signing waivers to go to a haunted house, I was thinking of McKinney Manor, where they didn't do any of that besides putting a bag on your head and, all that shit. Anything
McKinney Manor still fucks you up.
Anything on top of that, though, that I didn't think any haunted house was legally able to do anything of the sort like that.
And so people enjoy it.
That part, yes, I would consider assault, because I'm not signing up to get pissed and spit on, even if I sign up to go to a haunted house. If I sign a waiver, I'm not expecting to get shit pissed on, whatever, and nearly drowned or the threat of drowning.
Then don't ever... Someone who's into haunted houses, because there are entire communities where it's like, yeah, haunted houses are a thing. You fucking weirdos. If anybody says, hey, yo, come with this, make sure you look it up. Make sure you know what you're getting yourself into. If they provide a waiver, you ask every question possible, because they're going to fuck you up.
You read everything before you sign, and that just goes in general. But you read everything before you sign, because they will have to outline what they're going to do in some way, form, or fashion. They can't say, yeah, sign this waiver that only says I'm not legally liable for anything that happens to you. That's not going to fly.
It's just one page, and it just says, I agree. I agree to everything. Sign your name. Don't trust that.
No.
But also, along this horror movie mental illness thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I will say, I've told you, I keep smacking my fucking lips. I told you that I've been trying to watch a lot of slasher and horror movies this October, really getting into the spirit. It's mostly,
that, but most likely, yeah.
It's mostly while I'm packing at work. I'm going to be honest. I don't sit around watching that shit here. But I watched the 2009 Friday the 13th movie. I'm not going to ask if you've seen it. I know you haven't seen it.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it.
Have you seen any slasher movie? I know you said you've seen Chucky.
I've seen Chucky. I don't think I would count Haunted House as a slasher at all. So,
are those the found footage stuff?
Haunted House? No. It's the comedy horror movie.
Oh, I'm thinking of the house
Sequels.
October built.
No. I think Chucky was probably the only slasher that I've seen in its entirety.
Well, let me tell you something. This Friday the 13th movie, it sucked. It sucked. The characters were so unlikable. There was nothing creative about the killing. The dialogue was horrible. The comedy was dog shit. Everything in it was so bad. And I looked through the comments of this edit that I see of it on my TikTok page, which is kind of creepy, that a day or two after I watched this movie, I'm scrolling on TikTok and see an edit of the movie. But in the comment sections of that, people are like, this is the greatest reboot of all time. This movie brought slashers back on the map. And just to the people who enjoy slasher films, why? Because let me tell you something. Around this movie, there are two main points I see, right? A, the nudity You get to see titties. You get to see a lot of titties in that movie. And you get to see a scene that looks like it should be on one of those websites we all visit in the middle of the night. Okay?
Okay.
And people, the producers and the director were adamant, we have to have this in the movie. We need this. We need to bring these back in the movie. And the people around it talk about these women's bodies in such creepy ways. Why is it that nudity has to be adamant in these movies? Why? Just why?
So I take it, you said, what, came out 2009?
Yeah.
Much different time in the world. I'm not going to justify that they were adamant about any of that, but much different time. So I imagine it was due to those reasons rather than what we think in today's standards of anything of the sort, really.
What do you mean?
Like, 2009 was a time without limits, and also there were a lot of tits in movies.
Time without limits?
I say
See,
limits.
This is what I hate.
The censorship that's happening now, it's without that.
Yeah, no, if you look into it, that's not true in the slightest.
Really?
See, this is a conversation that I started really learning about when I looked into the life of George Carlin. Okay? I see my thing is cutting off a little bit. You know how the conversation around comedy is everybody bitching about people complaining about stuff?
Yeah.
You know the actual free time where people could just joke about what they want? That was maybe 10 years in the late 90s to the late 2000s. Before that, and again, you look into guys like George Carlin and the guy he was hanging around, I think his name was Lenny Bruce. He would have to carry his suitcase into the Blue Room or whatever they call it because his act was getting him arrested in every single club he was going to. People were not booking these comics just because they were cursing or using words that weren't allowed on stage. So when people bitch and complain about censorship, oh my God, how look into it.
That's actually kind of funny because any comedian I've watched I didn't really start watching like stand up until like maybe the 2010s or so, but there seems like there was hardly any censorship.
Yeah, like I said, because those comics, like, which ones are you talking about? Chappelle, like Bill Burr,
Bert Kreischer, Fluffy.
All late 90s, 2000s guys.
Yeah.
All came up during that time where, yes, it was kind of whatever goes because people were then booking dirty comics and doing all this. But with everything, once you take that lid off, everything just goes. It goes. Twitter just, open the door to, we're just going to allow whatever because free speech. And then you just open it and see people getting beheaded and just actual death cams.
There is a worse side to everything, and I feel like that's what happens there.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why people are trying to bring it back now. It's where comedy in the late 90s to late 2000s, this is nowhere near the topic we were having, but it got insane with some of the shit people were saying. And even now, the people who bitch a bit about it, shut the fuck up. Because you're still... Dave Chappelle is still one of the most successful comedians of all time, one of the most revered comedians of all time. Shut the fuck up about getting canceled. Shut up.
Not gonna lie, Dave Chappelle was funny as shit. So.
His last few specials have been ass.
I haven't watched his last few ones, but I remember watching some years ago.
But back in the day...
Fantastic.
Back in the day, he was fine. But that's what I'm saying. When it comes to like 2009, yeah, you had stuff where it's like, oh, tits. Huh? Guys? Lads? The WWE, insane time. But there was still, like, you can't tell me that there wasn't if we were put back in 2009 and we had someone saying like, oh yeah, look at the tits on her. Look at that body. Like a girl getting undressed in a movie. You can't tell me that we wouldn't be like, could you like not? Could you stop that?
I see 2009. Yes. I was also like any movie I watched that had the chance of even having like nudity was always watched with my mom because that was a thing we did. We always watched movies together. So I would always look away or something. And
I've turned around and this is a weird turn that this podcast has taken. But my grandfather used to complain about the sexual stuff in movies and TV and just media now. Mm-hmm. And, you know, a couple of years ago, I was just like, he's just an old man yelling at clouds. But now I really think about it. I'm like, yeah, why do we?
I mean, it's fair. The early 2000s were a time where women were almost exploited for their bodies in movies and TV and all this other stuff.
Almost.
As compared to before, which I don't think was actually worse. So, yeah, not almost, just exploited. But
well, he likes to complain about it all the time, and now I'm like, yeah, if there's a sex scene in a movie, I kind of just want to skip through it. I don't.
Yeah, if it has no actual bearing on the plot, then I really don't care.
Hey, could you name a movie
no, I can't.
that has a sex scene in it where it's like, yeah, no, that.
Which is why I usually just don't care for them in general.
And for movies like slasher movies, it's just to the fucking weirdos that go to those movies and want to just jerk off a little bit. I hate to be so against slasher movie fans, but the fact that they go there for the nudity and they go there just to see a mass murderer killing people in different ways, in which in that movie, the most different way he kills someone is he ties them up in a sleeping bag and hangs them over a campfire, which fine, fair. Nice, right?
That's unique, yeah.
But if you're just watching those to see people get slaughtered and just to see a sex scene before they get slaughtered, yeah, I'm going to question who you are and what your interests are.
On that note, wasn't there a movie that came out semi-recently? I think Jenna Ortega was in it, about them filming a sex movie or sex porno that was a horror movie?
No, I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
I know people going insane. If they hear a movie like that and it's Jenna Ortega or Sydney Sweeney, they're like, fuck yeah, I'm in. Fucking perverts.
I'm pretty sure she was in it, I think.
I know there was a movie that came out
recently. X.
I think I know what you're talking about. No interest in seeing it.
Yeah,
I don't get the hype around Jenna Ortega. She seems lovely, and I hate to be that fucking guy, but just when everybody's like, oh, I would give my life for her, and she's so beautiful, I'm like, she's cute.
The thing I found weird was people were saying that before she was 18.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. See, I can say stuff like I had a crush on like Olivia Holt back in Kicking It, but I can say that because I was like 10 years old.
I was not older than... 14, 15 when that show was airing?
Which, by the way, people legitimately put the main guy, is his name like Zach or Jack?
Jack.
They say that he would wipe out like the Karate Kid. He'd fuck him up. And I'm like, yeah, no, yeah. Yeah, you can't say no.
Which Karate Kid?
Both of them at the same time. Yes. A, yes. B, he's a legit black belt. The guy who plays Jack is a legitimate black belt.
That's cool.
Yeah, he'd fuck. Which, by the way, it's fun. I hate the celebrity worship stuff, but it's fun learning fun little facts about celebrities like that. Like Tom Hardy pulled up to a jiu-jitsu tournament and just won it. And I had no idea that he did jiu-jitsu.
That's fantastic. What a power move.
Could you imagine getting tossed around by Tom Hardy and it's not shot for a movie? Like he just legitimately fucks you up.
See, I generally find myself not caring about the outside lives of celebrities because they're just people. That's
No,
all
it
is.
makes me happy that I had no idea that he did jujitsu. Because I was scrolling on TikTok and it just showed him beating the fuck out of some like 20-year-old kid doing jujitsu. Which, by the way, he's 50. But imagine losing to Bane, dude.
That's fantastic. See, I only ever got, I think, third place in a karate tournament because I lost one match. I was so mad
wish
about that.
I did Shaolin Kung Fu. I think that's what it was called for like a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one time I sparred with the dude who was training me and he popped me in the jaw. But when he popped me in the jaw, I kicked his leg and almost broke it.
All right.
And he was like, God, like, you can't fight, but you can kick. I was like, hell yeah.
It's like, I got them motherfucking legs on me, you know?
I'm going to pin someone to the ground and kick the fuck out of them. That's what I do. I'm a football player who can kick. I'm going to take you down to the ground, hop up, and before you can get up, I'm going to kick. I'm going to kick the fuck. That's what I'm going to do. If I'm ever caught in one of those haunted mazes, some motherfucker tries to approach me. Hey, these things are registered weapons.
I think I made it up to black belt, and then I haven't touched karate ever since.
I never did karate.
It was fun.
I did kung fu because my dad just thought it'd be cool. I got a bow staff and sticks. I forgot what you call them. But like 2 handheld sticks.
Oh, okay.
No, they were literal bamboo sticks
wrapped
in this tape. And me and my brothers would just beat the shit out of each other. I do have a story though. When I was playing football, this dude my brother, we got taught this whole routine of, walking around doing punches or kicks or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he was doing that. And this kid walked up to him and said, I'm an orange belt in karate. Do you want to spar? And my brother looked at my dad, and my dad was like, sure. And my brother backhanded the fuck out of him in that sparring session, knocked the kid's glasses off, and the kid ran away crying.
Your brother's an asshole.
Hey, he wanted to spar. What the fuck is he going to do?
You didn't have to do that, though.
I fast forwarded a little bit. They started sparring, and my brother just paintbrushed him.
You had to do that.
I will say that's disrespectful.
Yeah.
That's disrespectful. You're in the middle of a fight and you just backhand me? What is that about? What are you doing? What statement are you trying to make right now?
I can't say I fought for real whenever I was in that tournament for karate, but I definitely was doing some shady shit. Because I had one move that would just give me a point every time.
In elementary school, we had a dude who went to karate tournaments in his 30s. So that tells you how his life was going. And he was teaching us about not bullying, right? Mm. And one thing he was trying to show is, hey, you can't show a reaction. And he described a story where he got kicked in the ribs and his ribs broke. Like he felt his ribs break. And he was talking about how he could have gone like, ah! But he said that would have let the guy know that my ribs hurt and he would just kept kicking. And as a little kid, I was like, huh? He would have just what? He said, but no, I just switched my stance. I didn't show a reaction. I was like, you just had your ribs break. And he didn't show. I was in my head, I was like, how do you not show a reaction when your ribs break? That doesn't sound.
Adrenaline is one hell of a drug.
I will say, I'm holding in a lot of laughter right now because I'm imagining kicking a little kid so hard that his ribs break.
You're horrible.
And just hearing the noise.
Oh.
Just ah. Seeing his body fly across the room and just hit the wall.
Jesus Christ. How far were you imagining this?
I keep replaying it in my head.
You're like evil or something.
You laughed with me. What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm laughing because you're horrible.
It's like there was a video of like Dobby where someone said, I forgot this scene in Harry Potter. And it was Harry Potter walking into his room pissed off. And you heard, oh, Master Potter. And someone edited it to where Harry like kicked his bed or something, but Dobby was in front of him. So he kicked Dobby. And you just heard Dobby go, oh! And that's what I'm picturing.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, and when you have little brothers, no matter how little they are, you're going to kick them.
You fight your brothers all the time. I wouldn't really know because I grew up a single and only child, but...
See, no, my lady describes, because she has 2 sisters, she describes how her and her middle sister were just bitches to her youngest sister. And to us, yeah, we were bitches to each other, but we just fought. We're just physically aggressive, wrestling, smacking, punching, kicking.
I mean, yeah, that's the boy in you. Y'all really just fight it out and get over it.
Not even, we just did it for fun. And like I said, I would take that bow staff or a lightsaber and just smack the fuck. And then when they started crying, whoa. Hey,
get your leg back. Get your leg back. Hit me back.
Dude, last story I'm going to tell before we end this podcast. My brother had a Optimus Prime mask on. Would y'all shut up? Damn!
I thought that was your phone vibrating.
My brother, we had an Optimus Prime mask from the 2007 movie, and it had 3 buttons on it where it would play a voice line, right?
Yeah.
He put this thing on.
I think I had that mask too.
I was about to say, you looked like there was a disturbance in the force. But he put this thing on and he kept pressing the button. So I just smacked him. And the thing, my glasses are a representation, it went. And he just started screaming. He took that thing off and dude, just a waterfall of blood coming out of his nose. And I was like, I don't think I can hide that from Dad.
Ooh.
Dude, his nose didn't stop bleeding for like 15 minutes. It was nasty. Luckily, it wasn't broken, but just there's a piece that sits on your nose, and when I smacked it, it just...
So it was broken?
No, it wasn't broken. It just fucking...
on the mask. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. Okay. It didn't, like, hold on to his nose. It just rested there. If it held on to his nose, oh, yeah. That thing would have been broken. And my dad would have fucked me up.
Oh, yeah. You would have deserved it, too.
What the fuck are you talking about?
You smacked your brother.
He deserved it. He was coming at me in an Optimus Prime mask.
In that scenario, his nose broke. So
okay, he was 3 years old in an Optimus Prime mask being annoying. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Push back, not to the side. Like, if you're getting him away from you, push back, not just smack him.
This was Red Light Homies. This episode was kind of everywhere. We do apologize. But we just kind of felt like being everywhere today. Isn't that right, Z?
That's correct.
Follow the show on all the platforms. Twitter, even though we don't use it. Instagram, we're consistently using it now. Videos available on YouTube with audio versions available on Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, and iTunes. Make sure you like, rate, and share, especially rating, especially sharing, whether that is clicking the crooked arrow, sharing to whichever platform, whatever family members you want to bless their ears with our, I almost said naughty little voices. We're just going to move past that.
Yeah.
Or word of mouth. Word of mouth is very, very, very important. If you got a little brother and you just kicked him into the wall and to keep him from crying, what do they say, Z?
Hey, listen to this, little bro. Yeah. It's the boys Shaggy and Z over at Red Light Homies. Don't make you feel better.
We'll absolutely make. We're medicine for the ears, isn't that right?
Yeah.
We'll make them laugh, I think. Or just, why are they talking? Why are they talking about that stuff? Why does Z not know the definition of assault?
Okay.
This is Homies Jackie and Z.
That's me.
We'll see y'all next Monday.
Peace out.